Well, good evening, one and all.
Good evening.
It is very good to see you here. I'm glad you made it out in what seems to be dropping temperatures out there today. I want to begin with a little special song for someone whose birthday it is today, Laura Langford's. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Laura. Happy birthday to you. Yes, and we're glad to see you smiling and healing and walking and everything that is good with that. So that is a present to us all, and I know to you as well. The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Almighty God, you sent your Son, Jesus Christ, to reconcile the world to yourself. We praise and bless you for those whom you have sent in our lives and in the history of the church here at Good Shepherd, that you have sent in the power of the Spirit to preach, to serve, to listen, to learn, and to give thanks. And give thanks for the gospel sent to all the nations. We also thank you that in all parts of the earth, a community of love has been gathered together in prayer and in labor and in faith, and that in every place your servants who call upon your name know you and find you. This we ask in thanksgiving for your kingdom and for your power, for the glory is yours from generation to generation. Amen. Amen. All right, so again, on your table is a little handout. It's got agenda, different pages. We'll refer to those in the course of the meeting. Just want to make sure you have that. Feel free to take notes. You'll see at point number 9 down there are questions or time for questions. If you have them, we want this to be interactive for the things that are going on. We'll do our best to answer them. And we want to make sure, and Allison's going to help me do that, if there's somebody online, we're very glad that y'all are here, raising your hand or something to ask, that we make sure to call upon you too. So don't be bashful, you at home either. So I just want to say a few opening words. There's a lot to say after getting back from sabbatical, but the main thing to say is thank you. On behalf of me and Linda, just very grateful for the time away, the experiences we were able to have, what we learned in Italy, what we learned in different places. I, by myself, more on the Trail of Tears side of things, or the Civil Rights Trail in Alabama. On the table over here, if you haven't seen them already, are some books that I purchased that are about the Legacy Museum in Montgomery, which traces things from the slave trade, 2.7 million people kidnapped out of Africa and brought to North, Central, and South America over a course of more than 250 years, and then taking through the history up until what they're calling mass incarceration, which is still an iteration of oppression and trying to keep a race, a group of people more in line and more in check. And so as you follow that in the walking through this Legacy Museum, you can sort of see it there. You can't take pictures while you're in there, but it is a very moving and saddening experience. But you also see a lot of courage and a lot of steadfastness of people who stood up for themselves, who stood up for others, and in faith, and sometimes just to do the right thing. And one of the things I hope that in 2023, we might be able to take a pilgrimage ourselves down there if anybody else would like to go and visit and connect with some people. Some of you know Gary Moore, who is over at Incarnation. He's also in Alabama. He's been an attorney. He's worked with Brian Stevenson some. He's got contacts in the Diocese of the Central Gulf Coast and in Alabama who do those kind of things. And he was one of the people who sort of mentored me and steered me in this direction or that direction. So to connect with people like that. The other book is the Peace and Reconciliation Memorial, which is also known as the the Lynching Museum or Memorial. And if you read in the tidings that's coming up, one of the things that happens is you walk in and there's an obelisk hanging from the ceiling. And at one point it's at eye level. And then as you walk through, it gets to be higher and higher above you. to give you the impression of looking up at a victim of lynching. But each obelisk is not a person, but it's a county within a state. And one of the things that I did was to find all the counties where I have lived or worked to see how they sort of fared, so to speak, with that. Fulton County in Atlanta being the worst of them in terms of the number, but you might guess that for the population center and things like that. But very lamentable, very sobering. I really can't imagine how anybody works in any of these places from what they would see each and every day. But to have that experience, the same with the Trail of Tears, seeing those other type of things, again, with the whole idea is, okay, we can't undo the past, but what can we do to make it a better future? What can we do to not make those mistakes, or even to cut back on the latest iteration of what those mistakes might look like? And that's an ongoing process. I don't have all the answers, but I do want to be part of the solution in that. And I hope that we, those who feel the same way, we can join together and do what we can and where we live, whether that's the town or the state, and certainly the country that we can. So those are our books, sort of gifts. They'll be out here on the coffee table if you're ever around and want to look at them. Or if you just want to say, hey, can I take this home for the night and bring it back in a day or two, you're welcome to do that as well. There are Italy guidebooks all over the place, so I'll leave that to you. But I will say for the Italy trip, one of the things was to do reconnaissance for a 2023 pilgrimage, which will go to Rome and then to Assisi and then to Florence. And the initial paperwork and planning for that is coming back, thinking about leaving sometime like September 7th or 8th in 2023, being there for 12 or 13 days. But maybe a little add-on trip that a smaller group would want to do. Some people may want to come home at that point. Some people may want to go on to Lake Como or somewhere else in Italy or even somewhere else in Europe, and that's fine. But there'll be a price for the trip itself once you're there, because a lot of people will either leave from different airports, travel on points or whatever they want to do, but you also can get airfare like we did on the Greece trip through the agency Faith Journeys that we're working with. So I'm excited, Linda and I are to lead that trip, and hope some of you will be interested in trekking along. It will be a little bit of a walking intense kind of trip. It's not a sedentary trip. It's not just sit on the bus and look out the window and point and go, oh, isn't that nice? So we're talking 4 to 7 miles a day of walking, not continuous, not heavy, but there will be some walking. And so that is one of the things that anybody who signs up needs to be ready to do some of that, particularly start walking now. Assisi, a lot of the towns just like here are sort of up and down. And how you do that. David?
Even though you were missed, I want to say that Allison and Ellen held the ship together.
They did. More than that, it was a ship that kept moving. It kept moving, and I appreciate that. That's right. No, I'm very appreciative of both of them and of all the leadership. Laura, Peter, who is online, Vestry, other people who stepped up, who kept things going, and that's what I hoped would happen, and really sort of knew in my heart of hearts would happen. We'll just keep on going, and a lot of good things were accomplished, and I'm really appreciative of that. Very much appreciative of that. That's part of my gratitude for sure. But thank you. Thank you. I want to say a little bit about some of the things this past year that really have excited me. We'll get to that when we get to this report. But for our outreach grant committee to have been given charge to divvy out more than $300,000 to 32 agencies is amazing. There's a lot of work that goes into that with the barn and the barn board. So with Skip and Sharon as the chair, and as you'll hear in a second, Ruth is the new chair of the barn board, and all the people who donate, all the people who work. You've heard me say this again and again. It's just a marvelous thing and a marvelous accomplishment, and it's even better looking towards next year, and we'll hear about that momentarily. I think in terms of worship, also feel good adding Tiffany Jackson at the 11 o'clock service to bring her vocal skills and her faith to what she's doing is a marvelous thing to have. What I've heard again and again and read again and again is how important streaming is, whether it's a meeting like this or other things, that people who don't live here year round or just can't get out that morning, still stay connected. And that may be the silver lining of a pandemic, is it sort of forced us into learning how to do that. But now that we have that, it is. It's very important. Certainly, it's best to be face to face and whatever else, but there's no guilt if you need to stay home and join in that way, or even press the button for the recording in the afternoon or a day or two later. You're still participating in the life of the church that way and continuing your spiritual life. So that is a good thing. I will point ahead to one thing coming up in 2023, and that is the bishop's visit. He alternates between coming in the summer, when there are a lot of things going on here, and he could do 3 services and see a lot of people, and coming sort of in the off season, like you will this year, March 26th, when he can do a service, have a time to really meet and have conversations, when he's not rushing from service to service in between, and then the 11 o'clock service, and then a reception, and usually getting together with the vestry in some iteration at that point too, to have some conversations with us about what's happening here. As you know, he's a very personal person. He wants to have those kind of interactions, and we certainly like to provide that for him when he's here. The mission and vision, which is our 5-year goal, we had for a while some working committees that were really focusing on things, but now what we're really asking is every group to focus on those. I'm just going to read them again as a reminder as we head into 2023 that these have not been put out to pasture in any kind of way. We are still doing our best to enrich people's spiritual journey with Christ. We're still working to increase the diversity and vibrancy of our congregation. We are nurturing a deeper sense of belonging and engagement with our parish family and in the broader community. And we're growing our generosity in ministries in ways that transform lives. And that generosity, as you will see, is evident. Last year's boost in the number of people, or the pledge value, was significant after a pandemic. And we thought, oh, we wouldn't be able to maintain that this year. Well, we maintained it, and it even went up from there. So it really is a great thing, that inspiring that generosity, and something that just sort of builds on itself after a while, because people sort of catch it, and they catch the act of service, and they find the vitality, and they think, okay, this is a place to be. And that's what I often find, is that donations, contributions, stewardship follows good ministry rather than the other way around. And so that's a good thing that we've got going. So I want to move on from here to the buildings and grounds projects, which are listed on page 2. And Peter, you're online somewhere there, but I can't tell you how, you probably know this already, how much Peter has been doing here day in and day out.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm sorry I'm not there with you. I'm feeling a little under the weather. I didn't want to communicate with anyone and getting whatever I got. So, but it was, I enjoy working there. I enjoy the people that surround me. You know, my goal is to do the best I can and to honor God, and we've got accomplished quite a bit. There's still a lot of things left to do. So we got more to do in 2023.
Just instead of going line by line on this list, is there anything that anybody has a question about or a point about, other things that might need to be brought to our attention, of things that could be in better working order than they are? Yes. Something is happening slowly with that, but it is. We had to find where the conduits were underneath, so then we can get the electricity back to the poles. And we did that, and then the project sort of went fallow, and then we had to do it again, which happened just the other day, but we're still trying to figure that out. So we've got some alternate things out there for this time of year, whether it's ELL when it's dark early, and then Christmas Eve and things like that. For a good portion of the year, it's not a problem because it's light out till 9:30, and even in the comings and goings, we feel safe. We don't want to light up the world, but we do want it to be safe for people coming and going. Yeah, that's right. The posts that are there, yes, we're just wanting it to work. And we're maybe adding some other ones very similar to that, hopefully almost exactly the same as that, at the far end of the parking lot. They may be a little bit shorter and things like that. Most of them are on timers, so they're not on all the time. Peter has put some ones out here that are motion detectors now, so they're temporary. As you walk by, it will light up a little more. And then there's some solar ones low to the ground by the entrances and other places. And there may be some other seasonal decorations. There will be going up in the next 7 to 10 days. Yeah, but thank you. Yeah. Any other questions with that?
We should,
One
I
of-
just might add one thing, Rob. We will have the metal signs will push back until coming in on December the 6th or 7th, the same time with the custom signs. So by the weekend of the 10th, we should be pretty well identified.
Okay. Yeah, so two new, the metal signs that are up there, the blue and white ones that say the Episcopal Church welcomes you. And then out on the north end of the parking lot by the road, there is a small little wall and a sign will go on top of that. So people can, we're gonna have a good road sign with a number on it. Yes. Doreen's already got the champagne in the fridge ready to toast and do it when it comes.
Okay, great.
For years, a long time.
That's right. That's right. So at this point, we'll call on Irv to step forward and go through a couple of these financial things with you that are listed here. And as I do that, let's give a big hand to Irv for, he's been the interim treasurer for a long time. And so we did lift that title this year.
So we're in good shape. I just want to say we've had well, first of all, let's see, we've got the endowments up there, and the endowments have, suffered some financial losses like everybody has this year. Coming back, we had a good day in the stock market day. I'm sure that's going to help these a little bit too. So I think November will end up a little better than October. Our money is managed on a long-term basis, so we're not trying to, beat what happens in stock market every day. I'm not sure you can do that anyway, but we're certainly not. So it's a long-term view. We keep pretty good eye on what we're doing. We got some good money managers. So while we're still down from the beginning of the year, we have been coming back some lately, and I think the finance committee feels good about where we are and as good as you can right now. So some of the people I listen to on other foundation boards that I'm on will tell you that they think most of the bad news that we know about now or can speculate forward on has probably already been built into the prices in the market today. So hope that's the case. All right, Ellen, maybe the next slide. We're having a good year this year, despite the fact of all the pressure that Peter has put on the finances of our church. But we applaud Peter for all he's doing. But we have had a lot of maintenance type expenses. Some of them have gone against our reserves. Some of them have gone against our operating budget. We're ahead of the game a little bit at this point through October on our revenue, our pledges, and our plate. We look good for next year. We've got a pretty good bump already in pledges, and I think we'll get a little bit more in looking forward. We have a few expenses that are ahead of budget, a few that are back. That shows a $17,000 positive thing, but I think I recall we're even more than that ahead of budget. So I think we're in good shape and we'll end up the year in a positive way. We spend a lot of time in finance on preparing the budget for the following year, and that's really a big guide to us. I think we use that as a very important tool. It's basically our business plan for the next year. And so we're working on that now. It won't get finalized till after the first of the year, but you know, with inflation what it is, that puts some pressure on us. I don't expect Peter's work to abate. And so, you know, we have some challenges, but fortunately we have a lot of generous congregation. And as I said, our pledges are up notably from last year already. So I think things look good overall. I'm happy to answer any questions about that. Let's see. I think that's, I think I've kind of covered everything unless there are questions. So,
Good job.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
very good. Sometimes this is a little hard to rank, so I want to adjust this just a little bit. Of the 221 pledges, whatever, we had 81 this year that didn't change. The number was the same for them. 50 needed to decrease. Sorry, 14. I see my line, that's right. No change. Having a hard time reading it sideways like that. I don't know what it is. No change is 81, decrease is 14, increase is 50. New pledges are 39, and these 37 who are listed here stopped doesn't necessarily mean they said they stopped. We just haven't heard from them. And so some of them we're reaching out to, not all of them. We know some are moved away, some are in some circumstances that we know about. We're not going to bug them for pastoral reasons or whatever else it is. But really, this number of 709 is a great number and is an increase over the 660 from last year. So that also is one of the things that takes the pressure off Peter and us and everybody else, that we can do a lot of the things as ministry that we want to do, and just very pleased about that. Again, any questions financially, one way or the other? Yes.
Either for Rob or for Herb, in new person on the block, do you happen to know what percentage, I'll say, of the figures are pledge versus non-pledge, loose plate offering, I guess you would say? I can tell you that the budget this current year, the loose plate offering is about $132,000. And our pledge offering is about $660 or something like that. So that'll give you a little idea. Okay, thanks.
That's good.
Does that answer your question, Bill? Yeah, okay, good. I neglected to give another shout out in my opening remarks, and Janie Cruz, if you let us give you our love and our applause, and if you take a bow for a great many wonderful years chairing the Outreach Grants Committee. Was 15 years, is that right? I think 15 years.
You have to unmute, Janie.
Okay, you'll need to unmute yourself, Janie. We can't hear you unless you hit unmute. Yeah.
Maybe
There it is.
maybe 15 on the committee, but only 10 chairing it.
Only 10 as the chair.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's just really poured her heart and soul into it. She knows the agency. She knows the people who work there. She is just really set up so many things. And we set up a plan of transition a couple years ago when she said, I'm not leaving this year, but you need to get ready for me to go. And so in that case, Bill Canby, who's also been on the committee for a good while, stepped in as vice chair last year and will be the chair this coming year. He's already got the ball rolling with a lot of things. including a group of 20 people who are on that committee going forward, which really helps to have people have ownership of what's going on, which is one of the most important ministries that we have, but also know what's going on in our community and have contact with people in places that they did not know were going on. And that strengthens our partnerships in so many ways. And we're always looking for ways to strengthen those partnerships and not just be a group. Here we have a check writing relationship with you. Here's your check. We don't want to hear from you for 12 months or something. We want it really to be a partnership where we can offer different kinds of support, whether it's with their board, which we are trying to do through Bill and Linda Quick and some others who are working on helping a board figure out how maybe to put itself together and to be more of a functioning board. Sometimes it's a one-person show. The chair just sort of is doing it, but that ends up leading to burnout and maybe not the best health for an organization. So we're trying to build the capacity or help to build that in connection with things that happen down at Southwestern, at Western, I mean. So thank you, Bill, for taking the reins of that group, and I look forward to the work this year. So speaking of leadership and transition, I have a letter that Sharon Stricker has asked me to read. This is her way of a positive sign off for many good years helping with the barn. Dear Rob, on Monday, Ginger was telling Allison how excited the Bazaar volunteers were the first year that they broke $8,000 total. I've heard the same story from Pat Rowe, as they worked so hard for 12 months to do that. Many thanks to every one of those volunteers for their hard work and vision. With God's help, they placed a cornerstone to a mighty and blessed Good Shepherd ministry. It has been my great honor to be used as one of the gears in this machine known as the Bazaar Barn. What a ride. As I shared with you on Monday, however, it is time for me to step aside. The Holy Spirit carried us on wings for a few years as we all worked to lay the groundwork for what can be, quote unquote. We are realizing that potential this year. I'm not equipped to lead in the next several miles, but I will be cheering and praying in the background. Thank you for trusting and encouraging me on this leg of the journey. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And guess what she says now? Count it all joy. Count it all joy for his shake. Sharon.
Yay!
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
In lectionary, we talked about persistence this week. And persistence in the goal has gotten us to where we are today. Because I recall in the very beginning, I was on the district back then, we're gonna pay how much for the rent? We're gonna be able to make that much money to make this worthwhile. And look at where we are today.
Very true. Very true. And that has to do with the Holy Spirit, with energy, with people who are happy, and the community that's formed as all of what happens with that ministry takes place. So it really is great. Sharon and Laura worked as volunteers for a long time, as you know, being co-chairs. We hired Skip a little more than a year ago, and it's great. And we knew that was a little bit of a risk to put that in. Not that Skip was a risk, but that hiring somebody was a risk. And that's right. And having him with everyone else behind him, it really just went to the next level. And in that next level now, Ruth, you want to come up? Ruth Russ is the new, and Skip may not speak, but I want him to come up and stand here too, because he needs some kudos as well.
Rob, I'd like to give a shout out to Kathy Candy, who helped me really my first year in that furniture barn. So Bill, tell her I said that.
Well, after all that, there's not a whole lot to say, which is good. I mean, everything I have to say is good, but y'all have said a lot of it already. First of all, I'm Ruth Russ. If you haven't met me, my husband Miles and I joined full-time in 2020 when we moved up here from Atlanta. And we have hit the ground running and enjoyed every minute of being members here. And we thank you for your welcome. And part of what got us or got me involved is the Bazaar Barn, because I was bored and stuck in my house with 2 adult children and a dog and a husband. And I was like, I got to get out of here. And so Sharon and Laura took me in, and here I am. And then Skip comes along and we're all rocking. But I have some big shoes to fill. I really do thank Sharon so much for her leadership and inspiration for what we're doing. And she's not going anywhere, she says. So I hope she'll still be a big part of things. And also the rest of the board, I'd like to give a shout out to, besides Skip, our manager, we have Laura Langford, Catherine Dean, Peter Keck, and now Nell Hines, who I think Nell might be on, are on the boards with us. And we're really trying to make it a true board. Oh, thank you. And I will be serving a 1-year term. We'll hopefully figure out someone the next time. But we're now 2 years into this true barn format, Bazaar Barn format, with running year round, 10 to 2, Fridays and Saturdays. Skip's putting in a lot more hours than that, but those are our opening times. And it's been awe-inspiring in the true meaning of the word awe. I mean, we have increased over $100,000 our net income. I mean, it's incredible. So you go from 259,000 to 361 net in a year. That's a lot of selling a lot of stuff and good stuff. And how we done it? Well, we made some investments. Our first investment, and really the linchpin of all this, is Skip. And we hired him partway through 2021, and 2022 was really his full year of getting things going, and it's just been a beautiful thing to behold. His experience in the estate sales and antiques business is invaluable, and his contacts in the community are incredible. So we really appreciate that. We've got the Shepherd Shed is our little storefront next to Crossroads Chronicle, where we can display more little things, got some space available in the barn. We have been working with Carrie Sanders, who I need to give a shout out to, our communications director. She has helped us brand the barn. We've got logos, signage, we've got a social media presence. We are advertising in the Crossroads Chronicle, the Laurel, the Highlands newspaper. We are partnering with the Chamber of Commerce. You'll see some banners up from time to time at the Crossroads. And any ideas you guys have, please like us on Facebook and Instagram and share our pictures. We try to post things every week of what's available, and we're getting some great sales from that. And then really, we're just cultivating relationships. I mean, the people part of this is what makes it so amazing. We've got Skip's contacts in the community, designers. We've got parishioners like you who are giving us awesome stuff. We've got people shopping. I mean, they are there every morning at Friday at 9 if we let them in. You know, they're just ready to go, and they always come and they bring their friends. And really, we have truly the best volunteers in the world. I mean, I wish I could give you a shout out, all of you. There's 30 plus people that I counted, and it keeps going, that are there without fail. They're here, they're down in the basement sorting and pricing. They're bringing it to the barn. They're there Fridays and Saturdays, 10 to 12, 12 to 2, or whatever they are. And it seems like whenever somebody has to leave and can't be there, someone new steps in and fills a great role. So it's just been so gratifying to see. And truly fostering the community, the goodwill in the community with our shoppers. And then when they see the list of outreach partners we have and the goodwill we're making there, it's that whole mission statement with with our faith in action. We're reflecting God's love. And I think, as Rob said, we're doing the whole spirituality, generosity, diversity, and belonging pillars right in everything we do. So with that being said, we have some good plans going forward. The barn is truly too small for us. We have 60% of our inventory is in storage right now because we're getting such amazing things from houses, and you can't sell stuff in storage. The barn floods, it's cold, it's damp, it's hot, and the shed space is just not big enough. So we've really been looking hard and long at what's out there in the community. And There's not much, but we found a location that we think has a lot of potential. And we've gone into some discussions with them. It's up on 107 North across from Blue Ridge School. It's a 10,000 square foot shopping center. And it has a lot of great attributes. And we're going forward to explore that with the current owner. And we'll be back in touch with you more about that. But we've really looked hard, and to buy land and build a building right now is just almost out of reach. And there's not even great land to buy. So this checks a lot of boxes, and we're going to be very good shepherds of your money. And we will, of the monies that we spend on this, but we've planned for it. We've got some funds set aside to do this. And we've got great people who know what they're doing and will advise us. So that's probably our next big thing. And right now it looks like we could even lease some space there to help us get some of the stuff out of storage, so we could at least display it and people could see it. We'd still have the barn location as it is now, but going forward, I think it has a lot of exciting potential. It's 1.7 acres. There's a lot of green space around. It's a pretty cool place. So we look forward to talking more with you about that. So when you look back over 40 years of doing this bazaar thing, which I never even went to the bazaar in the first place, so here I am. It's awe-inspiring to watch, and like I said, it reflects God's love through our faith in action. Any questions?
Great, 21 and 22, Heavenly Foods, so that's fall under those are.
Yes, it did. And I should have given a shout out to Carol Trickle. Thank you, Carol, if you're on. Whew. I mean, that I think increased over, we were maybe doing around 6,000 last year. I think it went over 7,000. That's a lot of casseroles, folks, and soup. And people were lining up for that, and it was gone in a second. So that's another awe-inspiring ministry that's part of the board and goes to outreach. So any other questions? Okay, turn it back. Oh, and we do have some other exciting news that Rob's going to talk about.
Skip's going to stay up here because this is his brainchild. Mattresses are one of the things that fill up landfills, and probably don't have to sometimes if they're in good working order. You can imagine any number of mattresses up here that have been in the house even for 7 years. We've probably been slept in 8 times because they're guest rooms or whatever else. Perfectly usable. So Skip said we can do something about this. So we rented a space, and we'll be receiving mattresses like that from the houses when people donate their house. And also the mattress company here, what's the name of them? The Blue Ridge Bedding, the same type of thing. When they go to get a bed, sometimes they come back with a mattress that is usable. We'll be able to have that in storage. We can't sell those, but we can make sure that people get them who need them. And so through Fishes and Loaves, through all of our other partners, we'll be able to say, hey, if you ever come across somebody who needs something like this, let us know. So that's the same thing to you all. Number one, if you end up having a mattress that's in good shape, it'll have to pass the sniff test and some other things like that, right? But if it's ready to donate, we're going to be able to put it here and get it to someone who can use it. And so that's the other thing we need your help with. If you hear of somebody that says, we're really looking to people who can't afford to go get a mattress, and really aiding that part of the community in this ministry. So if you have any questions about it, Skip has got handouts. He can talk to you, whatever else, but I think this is a great new ministry. So thank you, Skip, for doing that. And I'm sure he'd probably take volunteer help if somebody wants to be part of that. So to speak to him about that, but it'll be a little outreach branch of what the barn is already doing. Okay. Did I miss anything in that? Is that good? All right, good. Yes, 471. All sales is 471. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Parent.
In 2019, we netted 178,000 from the barn. And Sharon, I think that was a record at the time, was it not?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty big record.
Yeah, and also COVID is.
COVID was right around the corner in 2020. In 2020, we went from a big record, 178 to 240. Then we did the barn. During COVID, I remember Sharon came to that and said, this thing can go great places. But part of that is
Rob, would you repeat whatever they're saying, please, as a question?
Hold on just a second. I'll move the microphone. Just stay right there. I'll move this. over.
Okay, thank you.
Just keep going.
I'm just saying that the year over year numbers from the barn since 2019 are nothing short of amazing. In 2020 during COVID, we beat a previous big record by $60,000. Then Skip enters and we beat that record and we get almost $260,000. 2022, $360,000. Year over year during the worst pandemic in almost 100 years is unbelievable to everybody involved. Laura, Sharon, now Ruth, Skip, all the volunteers, Doreen, it's unreal.
Yeah.
That our outreach donation used to be the silent and the live auctions. We never, in our very, very best year, came even near doing what the barn is doing. So this,
All in 1 week.
Yeah, right. And we did it, yeah.
And I
so
bet you that we, in terms of the time and everything being put into it, we were putting a lot into the bazaar and so forth. I mean, the auction, it was labor intensive and we're probably using similar labor and getting a whole lot more.
And people are still having fun. I mean, that's the thing. That's good.
Rob,
Yes.
this is Kate. I would also like to say that the people that work at the barn, we have all formed friendships that we probably would never have had just hip checking each other over a cup of coffee. It's a very wonderful group and it means everything to me, I know, but it's a very positive thing for the parishioners that work there also.
Yes.
So thank you, Sharon, for all you did.
Yeah. As Ruth is saying, it's not just parishioners either. It's other people who just come and work from the wider community. And I know Teresa, who's online, Teresa has joined that group and is doing a lot. And Catherine is there and Nell is there. So it's sometimes people get involved in that and then become members of the church, which is good. There are a lot more doors into a church community than the doors of the worshiping space. And this is actually a softer way to come in and get to meet people rather than to walk into worship service you may not know a lot about. Yes, Maisie.
yeah, I just really, conversation and they were new to town and we said, well, do you have it? It was a great contact with people, new people.
Did you all hear that online? No. Okay. Okay. All right.
Whereas I've always said and say again, obviously tonight, count it all joy, which comes from James. My new thing, telling this group as they go forward is from Luke. Fear not, little flock, because this is going to get even bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. So this, if it's, even if it's not green, I hit this.
It's on.
So, okay.
Okay,
good.
and you can't walk without hitting your head. You cannot.
And since Doreen brought up the subject of auction, I did want to say that's one thing the vestry has said we want to revisit whether or not we restart that. We took a couple of summers off for pandemic. This past summer, we just couldn't get it together, but really thinking about what is that? What will the purpose of that be? Is that important for us to do? Or do we feel like this ministry is already contributing what we need and we're able to go on without it? So that's one of the things that we'll be thinking about in those ways. David. Depends on what you're donating. There was a Maserati out here earlier today. If that was anybody's Maserati, we'd be happy to donate that Maserati. That's right. Yes, anybody who wants to donate a Porsche or a Maserati or whatever else are welcome to do that. A Subaru, that's right. That's one. It would sell. It would sell. All right. Let's move on to number 7, which is the vestry election time. Again, very thankful for those who are serving or have served. If you are on the vestry now, would you please stand up if you're in the room? And wave if you're on the screen. That's right. Kate's waving. That's good. Thank you all for all that you have done. It's been a hard-working group. I'm very thankful to Jim Rechtenwald, who is officially rotating off, but he sort of rotated off early this year, given things that were going on in his life. Lenny Blevins, Kate Kirshner, who is filling a 2-year term, and Kate, who was on a 1-year term, but you'll see she's on the slate for another 1-year term, sort of the Patch Foster plan that we've got her on 1 year at a time. But thank you all for your service and your wisdom and the time that you have committed to that. And thank you to our new vestry. You're in the room. I know you are, Kevin Rowland. If you would stand up, please. Rosemary Aki had a previous commitment, couldn't be here tonight. Fred Hallback. Fred was a big part of our landscape crew that put together the columbarium and helped with the plans and all that type of thing that's going on. So very helpful with that. They're 9 o'clockers. So if you're 11 o'clock, you might not see them, but you might see them some. That's good. They're really 8 o'clock. That's true. They are that. They are that.
I think of it as early.
Sharon Stricker.
Woohoo!
And then on the screen, wave Kate Golson for a 1-year term. So we have, this is our group, so we really just need a vote of acclamation. All in favor of these people joining the vestry, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Very good. I love silence when that one comes around. Yes. So thank you very much, all of you. It's a great group. It's a great whole vestry. And I look forward to the work we're going to be able to do together in the coming years. At this point, I'm going to call on Allison, who's going to share a little bit about what's going on and also into 2023.
Well, when we met last as a parish, we had not yet experienced the joy that was Vacation Bible School, where we welcomed 9 children, 7 youth, and 30 adults into this space. And there is still so much gratitude. I wanted to find your hat, Kate, and so we could reprise the storytelling. But what came out of Vacation Bible School has sort of been our theme throughout the sabbatical, which is let those with ears hear. And we have done a lot in formation and we'll continue to do that. We did the book study with ears to hear, which was really a wonderful way to spend 12 weeks of Rob's sabbatical talking together about how God has been giving us things to listen for and listening to the words of prophets and over the years to which God has spoken. That's going to continue starting tomorrow with a 4-week Advent study, listening to God through the voices of angels. And the angels are prevalent in our nativity story. And also what this book does is remind us of the thousands of ways angels have spoken. And we're looking forward to sharing that both either in person or on Zoom. So however you can be with us is tremendous. We were excited to offer what we did with the Saints Among Us, what we did on All Saints when we brought folks from the community, from our outreach partners to talk about their ministries among us. And I think that was well received. We are going to continue through Advent, both watching a couple of movies that are produced by the same people who did The Chosen. So one called The Messengers and one called The Shepherds. And those are going to be each of the next couple of Sundays. We're also going to be making Jesse tree ornaments. You might have noticed in your in your daily devotions, you're receiving in Advent, right? Something should be coming up on in your email every day that gives you kind of a short way to embrace the season. And today we started with what characters from our past, from our history, the Jesse tree ornaments. So today we talked about Abraham and Sarah and their journey with God. So every day you'll get those devotions. And you'll have a chance to make some for our parish Christmas tree, or to take home, or to give to your family, however you want. So there'll both be some opportunities to do some crafting, which everyone knows is my second love after Jesus. Beginning in the new year, we'll do transforming questions as a way to prepare people for confirmation, kind of an inquirer's class, since the bishop is coming at the end of March. We want to make sure we have some people who would like to be confirmed or received or reaffirmed in the Episcopal tradition. So transforming questions each week, will look at a different question that may have been on your heart, right? Answering those questions that we have about our faith, our church, and the world. And then Rob will also be leading a second class called Faith and Culture, where we'll be seeing how those things intersect for us. We've got parish life events scheduled beginning in, tomorrow, a week from today. We have a movie night where we're going to watch the Nativity, again, produced by the folks that gave us The Chosen. I understand dinner is lasagna, so we're looking forward to that. And that's a monthly thing, first Wednesday of the month, movie, dinner and a movie. And then a couple of socials are scheduled also for Wednesday nights. We're going to have an Epiphany lunch, as much like we did last year, on Thursday, January the 5th, following the noon service. We'll gather, have some barbecue, which is a traditional New Year's meal, and king cake, because that's always a good draw too, right? Many of you we've been talking about what to do next summer. And so I want to announce today that I have contracted with the rector's approval with Appalachian Service Project to do a mission trip in the summer. It will run probably, we had to give them two choices, either the 3rd or the 4th week of June. And don't know where yet, except to know that it could be from as close as Johnson City to as far away as Virginia. And it'll be a youth and adult trip. Anyone that's completed 6th grade will be welcome to go. That would include most of you, I think. If not, maybe we can ask about that. But I am looking for adults who have building trade experience or willingness to learn. And we're very, very excited about this possibility to do this. It's quite reasonable. This is their business. They've partnered with many Episcopal churches. Oftentimes groups will stay in Episcopal churches right while they're there, sometimes schools or libraries, other things like that. But they do really good work. They've been doing it for 50 years. It's a solid program. So they do a lot of the background stuff, right? Meaning we don't have to recreate the wheel. So I'm excited about working with them and look forward to letting the parish know about that once we get past Christmas, I think that's enough. Doreen.
I would like to say one thing that I would like to renew next year is the parish. We haven't done that in a year or two due to COVID. That has always been well attended.
Sure.
Everybody has such a good time. So let's put that on.
Okay.
What did she say?
Parish picnic. She was making a request to bring it back or, renew it. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Allison. And as we mark this week, your 1-year anniversary, thank you also. Along with Ellen, I knew that the parish was in trusted hearts and trusted hands, and you're a big part of that. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Rob,
Yes.
it's Kate again. I would just like to say that Alice, we missed you terribly. But Allison was such a delight, and we all got to know her so well. And the class that she did on the Old Testament things was just fascinating. And we had a class, an extra class, just to talk about what we talked about in the classes before, because we all loved it so much. And I have read most of the new book, and it is fascinating again. So I urge everybody to spread the word about it. I mean, it is wonderful. And thank you, Allison, for teaching and sharing with all of us your knowledge and your fun things that you had us do, even Vacation Bible School.
Yes, if you're interested, books are available. Ellen can sell you a book after
Yes.
the annual meeting.
So any other just questions in general about our life, be it worship or pastoral care, parish life, parish picnics, anything of that nature? Lawson?
Is the water problem on the way to being really solved?
Yes, I believe the water problem is on the way to being really solved. Peter has been troubleshooting that for a lot of reasons. The hookup to High Hampton has been going on. So we used to have a well, and now we'll be using their water. It's been treated, but we'll also run it through our treatment, which is in the basement, which we found out wasn't doing everything it should have. So that is also going to be fixed and upgraded to make sure that it is doing that. But we haven't had pressure problems here. There was, it turns out, a leak sort of right under my office. The tube went right under the slab, into the slab under my office. And that was troubleshot, found. We got a bypass for that. So I think that was contributing to the low water levels in the well. But I still think having the High Hampton water is going to be a better solution than a well that may come and go and be effective or less effective year to year. So that's the plan. Yeah. Yes, Anne Marie.
I know we haven't been here very long, but have you ever had another women's retreats?
Yes.
You have?
Yes. Well,
I just haven't seen it since I've been here.
right. No, it's we have had them. We haven't had a men's retreat recently, at least in my time. I know the Daughters of the King, in terms of women's retreat, they do those retreats, but a retreat that is aside from the daughters or something like that, we have not had that kind of thing. But if that is something that people are interested in, there are great places all around here to go off to. Again, Lake Logan right across the way, Valley Crucis up by Boone is a diocesan center. Canuga in Hendersonville is a place to go, and there are other ones too. So if that is something, all right, all right, all right. So as we're making the agenda for December, Doreen, if you would put the parish picnic on and retreat, I will add to that one of the places that I got to go on my sabbatical when I was at Sewanee doing the Trail of Tears was St. Mary's Convent, which is right on the brow of the hill. It's Benedictine Episcopalian nuns. And they've got now people who are in their 30s and people in their 70s and 80s. So they've got some, but it's a beautiful place to go. There's a retreat center there that's associated with them that does their own programs. And so we could hop into something that they already have got planned. Sewanee, Tennessee. Yeah, so it's about a 5-hour drive. It's a beautiful, the other mountain, I affectionately call it, because it was home to me too. But now this is a very much that way. But that's a great idea to pull something like that together. Thank you. Yeah, Linda Ann.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Have someone come in, offer training, and to show where the AEDs are and how to initiate that is we're here, and not just Sunday mornings. But and you're at the barn, there needs to be some way that you can help someone there, working on site.
Right, yeah. true. Thank you. Sure.
Rob, we
Could
can't
you
hear
repeat-
anything they're saying.
Could you repeat that,
Okay.
please?
Sorry, the summary of it was to have some medical awareness training for emergencies, AED, CPR, that type of thing for here and for the barn, and to provide that and tie in some of the parishioners who are part of the medical community. These are all great pieces of input. Thank you for that. Anyone else have a question or a thought?
I don't have a question, but I'd like to say something. I know that you were long delayed and going on sabbatical, and you needed it. And I'm glad that you and Linda got to go. And I hope that you both got your rest at your renewal time. And now that you're back, it's gonna work.
Yeah. Well, I can speak for me. I mean, I got the level of rest that I really didn't even realize I needed. And just being able to unplug and turn off and some of those kind of things helped the reboot. And even on the stateside stuff, once we got back from Italy, I cut back on my schedule a little bit to make sure I didn't do so much of that I didn't come back refreshed and renewed. We got great family time. As I've said, sometimes in many jobs, and certainly too as a priest, there are more withdrawals from the family bank than there are deposits. And so we got to make some of that time together, and that was good. So again, very thankful for that time on behalf of both of us, and we're ready to roll. So we're here, and we're doing it. Even if we weren't ready, we're rolling. So we're coming in, and it's happening. So speaking of that, just looking ahead to Christmas, you've probably seen these in the bulletin. These are things, again, opportunities to invite people to join in the life of the church. The Christmas Eve services, including what Allison was talking about on Thursday the 5th, the noon service with a lunch after that. You know, sometimes we do stuff at night, and it's not great for people who don't drive at night. So daytime is better. So we have them daytime sometimes, and that's one reason for that as well. And with that, I will turn it over to Allison for a closing prayer.
This is gonna be actually a good Advent. Now, let's stand. I'm hoping that maybe some piano player will be not seeing that, so we'll do it. We're going to be, for those of you on Zoom, we're going to sing "Come Thou Long Expected Jesus," a good Charles Wesley hymn with a traditional Episcopal hymn tune type of though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No problem. Macy, why don't you come stand with me and help me sing? All right.
Can you get there from here?
Well, thank goodness. Thanks, Maisie. That's okay. Come thou long expected
Jesus,
born to set thy
people free.
from our fear and sins release us. Let us find our rest in thee. Israel's strength and consolation, hope of all the earth thou art, dear desire of every nation, joy of every longing heart. Born thy people to deliver, born a child and yet a king, born to reign in us forever. Now thy gracious kingdom bring.
us to thy glorious throne.
And go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Be to God.